Welcome to Eating for Mental Clarity. I'm Mariana Pichatti, your Ayurveda health coach and yoga teacher. Let's get right into it. I'm going to share some questions and answers and personal experiences. It's very juicy, and then we're going to go into an awesome blog post that I made. It's on my website. You can look into it and save it for later. It's got ingredients, recipes for each dosha type, specifically for mental clarity. So let's get started. The first thing I want to go over is discussing moments where I prioritized sensory pleasures over mental clarity in my food choices. Now, I was around 19 years old using hard drugs, being very wild, and my main choice of drugs at the time were heroin and Xanax. When I would consume these drugs, which had qualities of heaviness, forgetfulness, which was a mental disturbance, right? Lack of emotional regulation. I had food choices that were actually mirroring my drug choices. Okay? My food choices were quick, on the go, very related to like that forgetfulness, the energy of forgetfulness, the windy, airy, constantly going forgetfulness, right? Sweets, it was like a quick pick me up. Heavy, right? It's the same sign as like heroin, very heavy quality. The quick sugars for a quick kind of sensory pleasure and false nutrition, right? And that kind of showed up at the time in like the puffiness I would get in my face. So that was a main symptom of the dietary choices I was making. So things like Polar Pops and candy from the gas stations, or Jack in the Box tacos that I paid for with my food stamps, they were heavy and oily, very sweet in taste, right? Not like I'm sitting there eating sugar. I mean, I was with the Polar Pops and the candy, but with the Jack in the Box tacos, with the tortillas and the meat, the qualities of those are actually very sweet. So all of these qualities are very sweet, increasing and aggravating that Kapha dosha. So I also eat a lot of dry foods, and anything I could get my hands on. Sometimes I would get food boxes from the food bank, and those were mainly breads and crackers and food choices that were dry in nature. So nothing that was truly nourishing deep down to all of the layers. And getting clean from drugs was the beginning of a long road to self-discovery, right? I began the journey while still using, but the awareness of how every choice that you make, really how that affects you, became clear as the days and the years passed by. My first yoga teacher training, the teaching that I received in my very first class, right, beyond off of the mat, right? So when we were studying the philosophy of yoga, the very first teaching I had was on food, and it had to do with an apple. My teacher said, when you see an apple, right, if you're looking at an apple tree and you see an apple and you're like, I'm going to go pick that apple and I'm going to eat that apple, understand that the apple quite literally becomes you. And I was like, I was trying to think about it in a profound way at the time, but it was like, okay, yeah, that duh. Obviously it becomes me. It goes through my digestive tract and I poop it out, right? It becomes me, and then it becomes part of back to the earth, right? So I thought that was profound enough. No, right? From years of practice of yoga on and off of the mat, of contemplation, years went by and I finally realized what that meant. And studying Ayurveda really helped to open that door for me. But the apple quite literally becomes your blood, right? It's not just passing through your digestive tract. It becomes your blood. It becomes your muscles, your fat, your skin, your bones, your reproductive tissues, and your mind. It becomes your mental state, right? Clarity or cloudy or whatever it is. It becomes you. So Ayurveda taught me that. It becomes all of the layers of you actually within 25 to 30 days. That apple quite literally goes through all of those pathways, those channels in your body. It becomes all parts of you within 25 to 35 days. Every 5 days becoming into a new layer, which plays a huge role in sensory pleasure and how humans want immediate change, right? Whether you're wanting immediate change from recovery from drugs, or if you just want to see an immediate change in your weight loss journey and you just started it and you want to see an immediate change within 1 week, and then you're just kind of fooled because you quit too soon. You kind of give up before the miracle happens, but it takes time for those things to set in place in a pattern in the body. I want to share another experience with my gut health and how it affected my mental state. I struggled with my mental state for many years, okay? When I finally realized that my gut health played a huge role in my mental state, that's when I started to gain knowledge around food. Okay, it was a very long journey for me to wrap my brain around food is medicine. I started to, okay, let me cut things out from my diet, right? I tried all these different methods. I tried to restrict things from my diet. I went vegetarian. I tried the trendy things like parasite cleanses, all these things that were on trend. I tried all these different methods, but it wasn't until I slowed down and examined every part of myself, okay, meaning my digestion, my tongue analysis, my facial skin body structure analysis, my sweat analysis, my pulse analysis, journaling my meals, what I did that day, the nature of the meals, the nature of the things I did, right? It's not an overnight thing. It's not, because that becomes very overwhelming. It's one step at a time, noticing, okay, because I noticed all these things about my body analysis and I journaled my food for each day. When I go to study what bananas do to my body, I am more likely to understand how it changes my body because I look at my tongue. Okay, now I'm noticing my tongue looks like this. Now I'm noticing my digestion is like this. And you start to notice eventually the patterns in your mental state and how your food also becomes you. So slowing down, examining, and journaling everything you can about yourself is very helpful. Now, if you get confused along the way, that's where Ayurveda steps in and says, okay, take this step, do A, B, and C, and that will see what result you get. It's been enlightening and frustrating at the same time, because these things, like how to examine yourself, right? These things should have been taught to me as a child. Information about the food, recipes, ingredients, seasonal changes should have been taught to all of us as a child. It's not my parents' fault. It's the culture we live in. And now is the opportunity to remember the teachings. And with the technology we have these days, there's no excuse as to why we can't learn these teachings unless there's brain fog, right? Stopping us from learning, which Ayurveda can help us with. But we really need to bring these teachings back into our daily routines, our lives, and to our kids, and give yourself the time to study these things. It's not an overnight process. Give yourself years of commitment to studying. It's okay if you fall off, get back on and continue on, right? Because we see preventable diseases becoming common, becoming mainstream in the American Western culture because of the diet, due to several factors, right? But we can prevent these diseases by studying our food, studying ourselves, and implementing the knowledge into our diet. It's less about becoming a grand chef. You don't even have to cook well, right? It's less about being on a diet. It's less about a label and more about adapting the lifestyle of knowledge and wisdom around the choices you make with food and other parts of your life too. But most of us do, we do eat. Most of us do eat, and we do eat often. Okay, there's not expectations. What's the word I'm looking for? Mind blank. Exceptions. Thank you, brain. There's exceptions to that. Some people don't eat, or there's conditions or financial situations where people don't eat daily, etc. But most of us do eat, and we do eat daily. So now is the time for you to put that knowledge into action and study Ayurveda, and you get to become the alchemist of your own life. Reflecting on a time where distraction led me to eat mindlessly and how that affected my clarity. Distraction and pressure, right? To work, deadlines, to get places on time, gotta get the kid to school, eating on the go. These things lead me to eat mindlessly and to rush. That can cause you to disconnect from your food, but more importantly, for an immediate response or immediate noticeable change, it impacts your digestion. Work on having, 1 day a week where you are dedicated to all of your meal times and your meals and the ingredients that go into your meals. And then you eat not distracted by screens, not distracted by intense emotions, right? Not eating when you're very angry or upset or fighting with people. Have a deep relationship with your meal, with your food. It becomes you. 1 day, that becomes 2 days, and then it becomes every day that you have this meal time, right? These regular routines. And then you realize you deserve a life that supports you. You deserve a life that supports you. And 1 day you will have the wisdom and the confidence to set boundaries with the outside world, with your peers, with your coworkers, with your job that pressures you to eat quickly or to eat mindlessly. And with your children, so they too can have these routines. I want to hit one more question and answer before going into the juicy, awesome blog post. So, share an experience where cooking became a distraction or a source of sensory pleasure without nourishment. Okay, so I kind of went off board on this answer, but off topic a little bit, but it's important. So, you don't need to be a fancy chef or a grand chef to feel confident in the kitchen. You make meals. If they taste bad, you throw them out. If you're concerned about finances, right, and wasting, use step-by-step videos, right? Plan it out. Start small. Don't get overwhelmed. Support by buying some ingredients fresh and some ingredients pre-made. I know Ayurveda says buy this and only eat fresh and grow all your food and all these things, but that's a lot of pressure. And it's purity, not perfection. That's what we're going for, okay? It's step by step. Ayurveda isn't pressured to be perfect. That's a false teaching. But if you can do anything positive for your meals and your cooking experience, it's not to overwhelm yourself, but to make it a comfortable, enjoyable experience. Do not have attachments to the outcomes of your meals, okay? Be honest with the people around you who are going to eat your food. Okay, hey, I've never made this before. We're going to try it out. If it doesn't turn out great, oh well, figure your own food out. That's okay. That's a healthy boundary. It's okay to say, I'm an adult and I'm just now learning how to cook. People that have a problem with that, they're insecure themselves and they have imbalances going on within themselves to have those harsh critical judgments on other people who are bettering themselves. So you're not one of those people. You are a supportive person, so support yourself in your own cooking journey. I love buying, ready-made rices, canned beans, canned foods all day. Yeah, because they're helpful for me when I am busy and I'm on the go. I do also make it a priority to learn new, fresh meals, the whole thing from scratch, but sometimes you just pick one thing that's fresh in every meal, and the rest is pre-made, and you're working towards purity, not perfection. I buy ready-made Indian foods and other types of foods and frozen pizzas and ready-made frozen meatballs for my son. He loves those, and ready-made, frozen chicken nuggets, and I can always enhance those meals. You can enhance the rice with spices, right? You can make a side dish that's fresh, have a fresh vegetable. If all of your veggies and produce were fresh, you would probably have to use all of them quickly because they would go bad because you bought them at the store and they're not growing in your garden, right? So you have to be realistic in the culture that you live in and slowly change it by changing things one step at a time. Your goal, again, just like for the week, could be just add one fresh ingredient to all of your meals this week, whatever that is, okay? That would be a wonderful Ayurveda goal. Purity, not perfection. So let's get into the blog post I made. Look at this cute blog post. Eating for mental clarity. And it gives you a description of each dosha. If you're not familiar, I suggest coming onto this page, going onto my website, exploring around, learning about Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Vata is the combination of ether and air. It says space, but it's also ether, and we say ether and air. Pitta is the combination of fire and water. Kapha is water and earth. And these are words on the bottom that describe the quality of each one, okay? And then below are herbs for each dosha, and the herbal action is right here. So the nervines, these are all really good for mental clarity. Nervine herbs for Vata types. Now, you want to look into each one, and you want to have an Ayurvedic practitioner tell you if these are actually going to be good for you specifically or not. Because if you are a Vata type, or if you have high Vata, these are really great herbs as a nervine for Vata, but like Brahmi can increase the spaciness in the mind if you have a specific Vata imbalance in the mind, right? So it's very dependent on your imbalance, and you need to understand you are not a general, right? You're not a general just description of a dosha. You are unique, excuse me, you are unique, and you're a combination in many different parts of your body and all of the systems. So work with a professional, but this is a really good guide. It starts with the herbs. If you want focus enhancing herbs, here's a couple. There's way more, but these are just, I don't want to overwhelm you, right? I want this to be easy for you to look at. Foods with the same herbal actions as above. So I'm trying to keep it simple and organized. So nervine foods for Vata, warm oats, sweet potatoes, avocados, almonds, grapes. You can take these, copy, paste them into, a recipe creator where you're like, create me a recipe with these ingredients, right? That would be really cool. I also have a few meals planned out along with some yoga poses for each dosha type. So for people with high Vata, to lower the Vata, you would, have a breakfast of warm oatmeal topped with sliced bananas, walnuts, and a sprinkle of cinnamon, with an herbal tea of ashwagandha and fennel. Fennel is really great to help get rid of that gas and bloating for the Vata types that are very spacey and airy people, and Vata digestion, gas, and bloating. This is going to be very nice for you. And then the lunch, a quinoa salad with avocado, roasted sweet potatoes, and a light lemon dressing. Yogurt with honey and sprinkle of Brahmi powder. So go into the dinner, you go into the tea, look at the yoga poses. I made 3 yoga poses for each dosha type. Now, Ayurveda gets way more specific. It goes into detail on the current season that you're in, what time of the season that you're in, early on in fall, mid-fall, late fall, etc. And the food choices would actually change. So again, we're not going for perfection. We're just going for simple, easy changes. Pitta types, same thing, breakfast, lunch, dinner, tea, yoga poses. Kapha, same thing. And I also added in here just a few tips for enhancing mental clarity. Hydration is very important, as your body, your digestion, your brain, your muscles, tissues is a lot of liquid, is a lot of water, fluid, hydration. Drink warm herbal teas or just warm water to penetrate all of the layers and bring hydration into the layers. Warm also promotes digestion, and we don't want to shut digestion down. We don't want to shut the production of digestive enzymes down, and if we drink cold water, it will shut that down. Mindful eating, we just talked about that, eating in a calm environment. Chew thoroughly, don't swallow. Like if you're like, I don't digest peas and corn because I poop them out and they're whole. Well, because you didn't chew them up all the way. Okay, you gotta chew thoroughly and then assess your body. Mindful eating. Routine, have a regular eating schedule aligned with your doshas. So stick with those simple tips, and you can start to notice how it affects your mental clarity. And if you want to dive deeper and have a very specific healing plan or suggestive plan for mental clarity based on your specific imbalances to bring you back into balance. Wow, I'm hungry. My stomach growled so loud. Anyways, schedule an Ayurvedic consultation with me or just with any professional you feel comfortable with. and we'll get you scheduled and get you something very detailed. If you think this is detailed, wait until you have an Ayurvedic consultation. It gives you a whole little presentation, with cute little graphics of all of the changes you get to make to help you understand your imbalances, and ingredients and recipes for you to use to be in a state of balance, as well as yoga poses, breath work, exercise routines in a more detailed movement routine. So schedule that and email me with any questions you may have. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Look out for the other episodes. Obviously, like, share, follow, subscribe, wherever this is on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, etc. Have a great day. Namaste.